Okay, so before starting with the animation, we know that we need some kind of an object that is of canvas or SVG format for HTML, which is part of HTML5 for CSS3 animation. Because in CSS3 animation, if you want to move a certain object or give an animation to a certain object, it should be of a canvas, because canvas is actually a simply geometrical shapes containing different kind of shapes. In our case, it's a vehicle shape. So in vehicle is a big shape, but we know that not all parts of it are going to be animated. So I have done is that made a group of tires of the vehicle and the vehicle itself. Okay, so there are actually three objects that we are going to consider for animation. One is the first tire, then another is the second tire, and then vehicle's main body itself. After constructing illustration, okay, so I have know that many of you don't know how to use illustration or Illustrator. So I have decided to make another video that will teach how to make logos and different kind of illustrations on Adobe Illustrator that can be used in CSS3 animation or maybe used for logo and other branding stuff. So for now, let's go with the animation. After constructing this vehicle, what I'm going to do is save it and save this image, but in my case it's already saved, that is here, the car. So car is actually the same object that I have made on Adobe illustration. The first thing you notice is that browser supports HTML only. So browser only shows what HTML tells it to show. Okay, so SVG is the part of HTML5, hence you can see the illustration itself. So after making this illustration, what we are going to do is open it in some kind of a editor, HTML editor. In my case, I have used brackets.io, and it's one of my favorite. So what we are going to do is use CSS animation on this object by creating an animation module or animation CSS class. For that, we are going to assign some classes to the objects. In our case, we don't know, after looking at this, you must be confused that how do we know this is tire or this is the vehicle body. But don't worry, all you got to do is open this in the this car.svg file in the browser and right click on the object and inspect element. So in inspect element, you can see there is a tag named G. G is a single group. So here you can see after highlighting one of the G's, it shows which object is this of group. So in our case here, the third G is actually the vehicle body object. But when I move towards the second object, it shows the first tire and the third tire. Okay. So we know that since we are animating the three objects, so what we have to do is assign each certain class. Okay, so the first thing we are going to do is know that that we know that first and second is actually a tire, so I'm going to assign it a class named tire. Okay, so let's assign each one. For your easiness, I have hidden the inner part of the object because we are not concerned with it. We are only concerned with the group tag. Okay, so this is vehicle object, whatever you like to you know say it. Okay, so after assigning the class, for calling that class in the CSS, we have to use the dot as the initializer, that this is an CSS class, custom class you can also say it. Okay, so since we have two tires and one vehicle, so we will assign vehicle only this two times, because in HTML class can be same class can be of multiple objects, but not the ID. So we are using the class because we know that there are certain objects that have the same behavior or gonna have the same circular motion. So first we are going to use is transition. What transition does is convert it into a smooth motion. So what transition is simply turn every object into a smooth motion. Okay. So this smooth motion will be used of course for the animation because we want to see how every object is moving. Okay, so after doing this, what we are going to do is call the Tyre class and give it animation, animate 1s and infinite. Okay, so if you look at it, you will be confused. So don't worry, you can go at the bottom of this brackets.io taskbar and change the file type to css. Then it will show you that what you are doing is certain type of a class or certain type of attributes. So the Tyre class here, as you can see, has animation property. Animation property has some sub properties. First one is animate, then the time duration. Time duration tells what is the time in which the animation has to complete. The whole cycle of the animation has to complete. Infinite tells that after what it has to do after the cycle, complete cycle of the animation. When the cycle of the animation is completed, then it repeats itself due to its infinite property. After doing this, we need keyframes. Okay, so the first thing we are going to do is convert it into some kind of motion. Okay, so 100%, what we are trying to do here is from 0 to 100. That is the total time frame of 1 second. What we are telling here is that from 0 to 100%, that is from 0 seconds to full 1 second, what it has to do, from where it has to start and where it has to end, and how does it has to stand. So the first thing we are going to do is transform origin, because we want to tell the object that it does not have to move from its place. Just animate where at the absolute position you are right now located. So another thing you are going to do is transform rotate 0 degree, because at the start it should be 0 degree. Okay, so transform box fill box. Now what we are going to do is tell it to rotate 360 degrees. So you can see it's moving. Okay, so what else can we do to make it look even better? Right now it's moving like it's going forward then braking, then forward then braking, which is not really good. What we can do is increase its animation time and observe again. It's better, but we need to do it even better. So let's do it linear. Now what is linear is basically is called a bizarre curve, which tells you the animation should not go up and down, it should go smoothly. So doing this will, what it will do is simply rotate the object in very smooth manner and in linear form, not like going fast and slow, but it will go at a uniform speed. After doing this, we can sorry 360 go. Now you can see it has a singular linear motion, and now we can do is increase its speed because we don't want a very slow car. Now it's going really beautifully smoothly. Okay, after doing this, our next task is to mm, give motion to the vehicle. Okay, so we are gonna go vehicle jerk motion, and the first way is to use the same properties, but instead of using a circular motion, we are going to give it an up and down motion. Okay, so let's say I'm gonna copy, because it's a good thing to reuse the same thing over and over again. We don't want to waste our time. Okay, so the first thing we are going to do is, of course, we have to give it the animation jerk, jerk 8 keyframes, animate jerk. So from 0, of course, there's it's not really necessary to go 0 to directly to 100%. What we can do is also give it a 50%, even 52%. So it's up to you. I don't want to give it a very complex formula, so this is very translate y 30px. Okay, and 0, of course, we want it from the start. Okay, so it was case sensitivity, my bad, that I had to pause for a minute. It was not small vehicle, it was capital vehicle. Anyway, so it's working, it should work, but what we got to do is give it, of course, it's not just going to go up 30px up, down, or up. So transform, translate, you know what, let's give it small start. Okay, so from 0 to minus 15, it should go with 30, and then 60% transform, translate, px, sorry, my bad, 0, and then 15px. Let's see what does happen. Okay, wow, that was a bummer. Of course, it wasn't y, it was an x-axis. Now you can see it has somewhat jerking motion, but we are going at a very big area. So let's see if I turn this off. Okay, now it's looking good, but 15px in negative is very much. Okay, so wow, now it looks really great. Now it looks like the car is moving. And so now assuming that you have understand all of this, let's create a group. Of course, it won't work because it's on the file type CSS, but now we are going back to the SVG. As you can see now, you can use the G. Yes. Let's create a group. You can do the same in the illustration. What I mean by that is you can create the group in illustration. It simply just generates this group tag from the both sides. Okay, so let's give it now a moving car motion. Okay, so let's say a moving car transition all 0.6. You can see now it's back to black. There is no IntelliSense anything working. What you can do is simply go to CSS. That is one of the weakest points of brackets.io, that it only understands one type of the language or markup language at the time for IntelliSense. So I have given the translation property, and of course we don't need this, we only need animation, because now we don't want it to be at the exact position, rather we want it to move somewhere. So animate car moving. It's a long name, but it's gonna work out. Okay, so car moving from 0% transform, translate, or maybe you can use a margin property. Let's try it first. uh, Margin left 100%, sorry, first 0, then 50%, it be margin left minus 15%, sorry, 50%, and 100% margin left 100%. Of course, there could be mistake, but let's see if it's working or not first. It's not working. Well, let's try it. What could be the reason? Okay, so animate car moving. Everything looks fine though. Does margin work here? No. But if we work here, translate X. Okay. So see, the thing there was that transform property works on the canvas objects. That is because canvas is actually a vector object and it needs a vector animation. We can assume that. So let's convert it into translate X minus 200% or maybe 200% would suffice. 0, 100, 200. Let's try it now. Oh, sorry. Transform. Transform. Yeah, that was a bummer. But it's not really an issue. Okay, so now car is moving, but it's going way faster than we expected because 0.3 as for such an area is like it's a moving a real car. We can make it even slower. Sorry, here 3 seconds. Okay, so the now car is moving. You might be assuming are the tires moving because it was a separate entity. So let's try it on the 13 seconds so we can clearly see if everything is going fine. Yes, everything is going fine. Okay, so let's say success. Success would do fine. We don't want the car to be very slow. Okay, so you can see it's starting from the center now. Why not from the beginning, from here? So let's try it in a very peculiar way. Translate X and make it 200%. Okay, so let's try it now. What is going? Okay, it's still going from the same area. So maybe the animation needs to stop. Okay, so it's starting from here. So simply what happening here is that I'm giving it by default minus 200% means that is from screen its parents is, in our case its parent is screen. There is no dev object which in which it's inside. So the parent object is very large and minus 200 is giving it from the beginning. But when we start the animation we are starting from the zero origin. So instead of doing this our starting origin should be 200%. Okay, so from 200% to 100%, minus 100% of course. So what we are going to do is minus 100 and then 50% to of course 0, then 75% transform translate X and 100%. Okay, so let's see how it goes now. Okay, so it's starting really well. Wow, now you can see as if real cars are moving. So let's try something even more awesome. Why not copy this object and make another one? Yes, you can really. I have made 3 objects. Let's call the a. Let's convert it into SVG. Now you can make it into group. Okay, so now no need to go back to CSS because we know what we are doing. At least I know. Uh, so let's call it moving car 2 and moving car 3. Okay, so The moving car tools vehicle CSS needs to be a really better one. So let's see. As you can see, there are some strokes filled over here, which are defining the background color of this. So in our case, ST4, we are going to call it ST42. Okay, so ST42, ST42, or you can just say anything else you want. Let's make it CSS now. Yes, we don't know hash values because we are not computers. So we can just convert it into white. Okay, so there is one vehicle standing there, but actually both are standing there. Yes, of course. So what we are going to do is simply convert to vehicle 2. Oh, sorry, moving car 2. Moving car 2. Okay, so of course, moving car 2. Yes, we need a different animation. We want it to be very slower than the one we already have. Let's convert it into 3 seconds and see if anything is going. Okay, so moving car 2. Here is the moving car 2. 100%, 100, 50. We'll look after that stroke, the background color we change for the single car. Now you can see the car is at its position. It's white as we mentioned. Okay, so something is not wrong, not really working, but we have found that we now you can see two cars are moving. Okay, so one is this and that. If you don't know many colors, you can go to flat UI colors, and it has good color palette, and you can select one. Let's choose blue. Okay, so thank you flat UI. Forget to say that because it's not really good if you don't give someone the respect or credit for giving us free stuff. Let's see if it's vehicle 3. Okay, because yes, we want to change its color and give it T43. Of course, we have to change the class because we don't want the default class to change because we don't need to. You can if you want. Okay, so ST43 fill and copy from here again. I overrated the copy. Now towards the moving motion or moving car to 3. Convert it into 50. Moving car 3 because we want a different motion for this car. We can make it go backwards. Yes, we can, but let's just try this one first. 50, 0, and go towards 25%, then 50%, then 100%. Okay, let's see how it goes. Okay, nice. Who's winning? Okay, so something. If I give each and everyone the same space, Basically, all you have to do is set them in the appropriate manner. One is going out of the screen and starting in the center of the screen. That's why it's flashing on and off, or we can say it's appearing and disappearing. But it's actually the phenomena that you can see here is that its origin was ending here, so it was restarting its animation from here. Okay, so what we can do is give each one the same origin as given to the first one. See, the mistakes you are looking here that I have made are going are one kind of a lesson, because when you make mistakes, you resolve them back. Okay, so I've started everyone the way they are, and let's see how it goes. Everything. Okay, so it looks really nice now. So, guys, today what you can say is that you have learned that HTML and CSS3 are not just a mere designing tools, but they can be used for the animation.